Hey guys, welcome back to Bait and Tackle. I know it's been a little while, but we're going to do something a little bit different today. We are going to make some hard baits, and we're going to do that with the help of this guy right here, LazyBaitsCo. And Anthony has hooked me up with a couple of the molds he does for the little lippers and the big lippers, and we're going to take a look at that and actually do a couple of these. I want to show you how this kit works and how we make these baits, bending wire and that kind of thing, and it comes with everything you need to get started. The only thing you need to probably have on hand is an airbrush or any of that kind of stuff. So let's get to it. Let's get this thing started. Alright guys, so let's start off with this view, and I want to explain what comes in the kit first, and then we'll go through what you're probably going to need to get started. So this is what Anthony sends you. Now we're going to do the big lippers today. I may do another video with the little lippers at some point, but I want to show you guys we're just going to do the big lippers in this video. So little note from Anthony, always awesome. And this is the instructions on how to actually make the big lippers. So he has everything laid out, instructions and everything, step by step, all that kind of stuff. Now, you will need some extra things to get started. You will need to order some snap rings for holding the hooks on the bait when you're done, the hooks themselves, and you'll also need some sinkers that are specific size and specific quantity for doing these. And you're also going to need some Fabricast 50 or whatever resin you actually want to use. It really doesn't matter as long as you use a certain type of resin that you like, but he recommends this, and actually I recommend this too. I've used it already a few times and it works phenomenal. Fabricast 50 again, and you really don't need much. Like I've used probably not even a quarter of this yet, and I've probably made about 12 baits, I think, but 10 of them were little lippers and 2 were big lippers. So, but again, I made that many out of these little bottles, so you can get the small quantity of this stuff and get by just fine and make quite a few baits. Another thing that you're probably going to need is some kind of a mold release. This is UMR from Alumilite. I've had this for a long time, and it's really good just to hit the molds with. Now this one of these comes with the kit. I ordered another one from Anthony, so I actually have 2. But this is the actual mold, and what he does is he 3D prints these outside boxes just so that you got something to actually, you know, put your rubber bands on to keep everything together and keep everything stable, and all the weight, you know, all the weight of the rubber band actually is holding everything together perfectly. So kudos to him for these 3D printed boxes on the outside. Amazing job, Anthony. And here is the mold itself, and he uses Alumilite on these as well. And I can't remember the name of the silicone that he uses with them, but really good stuff. So I've been pretty impressed. I usually use Smooth On, but he uses SRC, and they are very good. So you're probably going to start seeing more SRC products if I start doing a lot more videos on mold making and whatnot. So, but here it is. So you're going to put the wire form in here, and I'm going to show you how to make that. And then after we get the wire form in there, the weight and everything, we're going to pour the resin down through and fill this up and make the actual bait. So that's the actual mold itself. And again, the kit comes with one of these, okay, when you buy them. And I don't know how many more, or if he's going to release any more anytime soon or not. I know he's released 5. I bought one of the 5. But I'm not sure if he's going to do these again. But I just wanted to show you guys these, and I'm sure he's going to release more. So keep eyes out for whatever he releases, especially if you're a hard bait maker and you really like to do airbrushing paint. Now, in the instructions, it's going to tell you what else you need, the tools and materials needed in this list. Okay, silicone, that's the silicone big lipper mold right here. Okay, It's a scale, which I have a small scale right here that I'm going to use, a digital small scale. I went ahead and ordered some new ones because I'm not sure if this one's going to hold up to what I needed to do in the future. But you can get those off of Amazon, no problems. Mixing cups and stirring sticks, that's no brainer. I've got some of that laying around the shop. Wire cutters, some heavy duty wire cutters preferably. I bought these off of Amazon and they work very well for cutting this wire. Wire bending jig, he sends you that. That is this right here. This is a jig that he made for the big lipper, and there's a different one for the little lipper. And like I said, I think I may do a video on that one too as well, so you'll get to see that here at some point too. But this is the one for the big lipper, and this cavity right here is where you're going to put the weight. I'm going to show you that in detail. We're going to actually get into that, okay? The wire bending jig tool, that's this guy right here. This is actually the tool that's used to bend the wire, and if you look at the end of it, it's got a hole there that goes on those pins in the actual jig, and then this actually, you twist it, and that's a pin that actually will bend the wire for you. I'll show you. I'll get you some close-ups of that too. And then he also sent this little holder where you can cut your wires to sizes and then stick them in this little tube, and then you just put them right there. And this actually has some extra pins that come with it that he made, and you can just set that up right there on your little table, and you got all your wires, and you got extra pins if you need them for doing the jig. So excellent job. Again, LazyBaitsCo, Anthony, amazing job on these products, man. It's phenomenal. Does a great job with instructions, everything. So I'm going to set this box off to the side. And everything else you need, like I said, we're not going to do the airbrushing portion of this video today. I'm not going to do that right now. What I've set up is I'm going to be making the baits themselves, and I'm going to send mine off to my buddy Chris at Swamp Trout Baits, and he is going to sell them on his website, which I will link below. When he gets them up and painted and everything, they'll be on his website for sale. So it'll be like, it's kind of like a little, I don't know what you want to call it, like a little business agreement between the three of us. So I got Anthony, he's okay with me making the resin baits, and then I'm giving them to Chris, and he's going to sell them on his website. So we're kind of just working it out. So, but anyway, so you need the bending tool. We got that, the jig, the wire. It's 18 gauge wire. I believe it's 18 gauge. It's number 18. And this is off of Amazon. And again, in the instructions in here, there is, I believe there's some links. And I think he sent it to me digitally too, so you can get it. Yeah, so here's some stuff right here. So in his instructions, there's coupons here for micro balloons. There's actually a coupon in here for the Fabricast for the resin. There's one in here for the egg sinker. It's not a coupon, but it's a link to the Amazon egg sinkers. And then I think he's got the wire in here too. Yeah, there's the wire. Okay. Now, the hooks, I believe he got off of Amazon as well. And I don't remember what the brand or name is on them. But really, you could use a hook of your choosing, really, for the actual bait itself. So that, I think I just got from Anthony. He told me what he uses, and that's what I ended up getting. Same thing with the snap rings. I got this certain size because he recommended it, and that's what he uses on his. So that's what we're going with. But these are the egg sinkers that are linked in there for inside the bait. We're going to be using those today. And again, the Sack Pig micro balloons, and I got these directly from Michael. Awesome micro balloons. This helps the baits float. So when you mix this in with the Fabricast, this really helps make your bait a little bit more, I don't know what the right word is for it, but it allows it more flotation, right? It allows it to actually, sit up straight and that kind of thing with the weight in the bottom of the belly, and it allows that bait to really have some air to it. That's basically what it is. Micro balloons, that's what it is, right? They're little balloons that help it kind of, I don't want to say float, but you get the idea. Okay, so we mix this with the Fabricast, and we put it into the actual bait. So this is in the actual bait. His micro balloons, so far from what I've seen, are top of the market. I have had some micro balloons in the past that I have tried and a couple things earlier on before this video, and I wasn't really too thrilled about them, because when you mix these things with different materials like resin, sometimes it has a tendency to want to bubble a lot, or there's moisture stuck in the air bubbles or the micro balloons, that kind of thing. His stuff, top notch. He puts a piece of plastic underneath the lid and seals it. Like, he goes all out, and his product is quality. So definitely want to get that stuff from him. It's not super expensive. I don't remember how much it is right now off the top of my head, but there is a coupon code in here for it. I suggest you really get those. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm gonna show you what I've done so far to like get this video going. So I took my ruler here, I took my wire out of this bag, and it's rolled up, okay? And I laid it out here, cut it to size, and it says right in here in the instructions, let me paste this out. And there are some safety instructions in here too, like he says, use some nitrile gloves, safety goggles, and even a respirator mask when you're mixing resin and you're sanding or any of that kind of stuff. Using the micro balloons, they when they get airborne, they're not good for you to inhale, okay? So he also has a little instructional here, an instructional video. Go ahead and watch that if you want. The only thing that he didn't do, and Anthony, I've already talked about it, I think he's going to add it on to the next set, is a line here where you can start the wire, and I'll show you what I did on mine. But it says here, cut 7.25 inches of wire. We got 7.25 inches of wire, and I already pre-cut a whole bunch and put them in this thing, so we don't have to do that. Again, using some cutters from Amazon. I don't remember how much they were, but if I actually, you know what, I'll link some of this stuff below, so then that way you guys know where to find it. Okay, so that's the wire. And I will link everything. I'll link the hooks, I will link the sinkers, I'll link the snap rings, I will link all that stuff below that I got from Amazon. I think just this, so it's the pliers, the wire, the hooks, the snap rings, and the sinkers. But I will put all that in the links below in my description of the video, so then that way you guys know where to get that stuff if you're looking for that kind of stuff. Now, again, he's not selling these anymore. He only sold a limited quantity of 5. I happen to be one of the lucky one of the 5 to actually get it. So what I wanted to show you was I made a mark right here in his little 3D printed wire jig, okay? And that's where I started my wire. So let's go ahead and do this. I'm gonna bring you down here as close as I can. All right, that's much better. All right, so I got you zoomed in, okay? This is the wire jig. We start over here, and again, he's got everything laid out in his instructions. So you go from, you guys can't see that. He goes from one over there, see it? So you start with the wire through there, you bend it around this one, go around that one, up through, and you got to put the sinker in. So let me show you how that's done. Here's that tool we were talking about with the hole and the pin, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and put that here. So the metal drops on the other side of that wire. I'm gonna start my wire there where I made my mark. I'm just gonna hold it with my finger real quick, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and turn this, okay? Until I get above this one right here, because that's the one that we're going to next, okay? So that's good right there. Now we're gonna go this one down around this one, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and grab this, put the pin on, and go ahead and bend my wire. I'm just holding this with one finger just to make sure it's tight, okay? I'm gonna pull this pin out so I can get past that, and I'm just gonna kind of line it up a little bit with that so it's good to go. I'm gonna put this pin back in. I'm sorry, my hands are in the way. Okay, just like that. All right. Keep everything tight with your fingers. I'm gonna get the other side of this wire, and we're gonna do the same thing here. We're gonna bend it up. Okay, and I'm gonna take that top pin out just so I can bend it enough to where it's gotta go. And I'm pretty sure we're good where we gotta go, okay? So that last pin will go right here. But before we do that, we have to put our sinker in place. So let's take that off. Let's get out our egg sinkers, just one of these, okay? Now this one's a little bit easier than the little lipper. The little lipper has smaller weights on it. That's a little bit more difficult. So that's gonna sit in there just like that, okay? We're gonna put this back on the jig the way it was, and that sits right in there just like that. Then we take the last one and we bend the wire around the other way towards the egg sinker, and that's good right there. Okay, so that is your jig right there. So there's one jig ready to go. Now we take our mold and we lay it out here, okay? Now I've already went ahead and pre-hit these with some of this mold release spray, okay? That helps the durability of the mold, helps it last longer, whatever have you, okay? So now I'm gonna go ahead and put the wire form in the mold, and you can see how that back one's off just a little bit? All you gotta do is just bend it up a little bit, okay? Just bend it up just a little bit at a time. Nothing crazy. Okay, and I actually went a little bit overkill on it. And you got to be just bend it a little bit at a time, okay? And actually, we are right there where we need to be. All right, so that's what you need to be, and it shows that in his directions. So once we got the wire bent, it looks a lot like what it's supposed to be, doesn't it? So if I just turn it this way, it's just opposite of what's there. Looks pretty good. So we are where we need to be. Now, the next page, I believe, doesn't have the instructions. Well, it has the instructions, but it doesn't have pictures for this one. This one's kind of, you gotta kind of do this one on your own. So we are ready to go. I'm gonna close this up. Okay, so it's ready. It's ready to go. I am going to put my rubber bands back around the mold. Okay, and Anthony has thought of everything when it comes to doing this. I mean, he sends you the rubber band, sends you all the stuff you need. He does a very good job of keeping everything perfect. Okay, so I'm just making sure this is settled up perfect. And there's a lot of air holes in here that the air is going to bleed through and whatnot. Okay, so I'm going to put this right here. I'm going to switch the camera angles back to up top, because when I show you this, I really want to show you how you have to be very fast, but I'm going to show you the top view of the scale and all that kind of stuff, right? So we don't need the wire former anymore. Now we're going to be using the Fabricast and a micro balloon. So let me get you switched up top, and we'll come right back to it. All right, got you back up top. I'm going to show you this. So I'm going to take the cover off my little scale here, okay? And we are using these little cups, and I cannot remember where I got these. I want to say I got them on Amazon. I can probably link these below too. And then all you need is some popsicle sticks, and it really doesn't matter which size. You could probably use some small ones. This is just for stirring. So what I'm going to do is put this on here. I'm going to, and I got to do this relatively fast, so I'm going to try to talk and do what I need to do, but I'm going to be kind of quick about this, because when you pour one side, it'll be fine, but when I pour the second side, I've got to move super fast to get this mixed up and then pour it in the mold, because it'll set up on you very, very quickly. Okay, that's the one thing you need to learn from doing this. I think it's the mixing of the micro balloons with the resin. It makes it a lot faster. So you got to move very, very quickly, and I will show you that all real quick. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to turn on my scale, if it'll turn on. There it goes. Okay, I got my cup on there, it's zeroed out, and I got it in grams. Okay, so I can see what I'm doing. I need 9.6 grams of sack peg micro balloons. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pop the cover off of that, I'm going to get out a very big spoon because this stuff is very, very light. And yesterday I was using a very small scooper and it was kind of a pain in the butt. So I just tap, I tap on the edge of the cup just to make sure that my reading's coming out right. I'm at 5 right now. So let me just go ahead and, that's 6.8, 0.9. I could probably start slowing it down a little bit. That's 8.1. That's 8.8. We need 9.6. That's probably pretty close right there. 9.4. I don't want to put in too much, although a little extra is not going to hurt. Okay, and I'm going to tap the edge of the cup just to make sure I'm at 9.5. That's close enough. So I'm going to put this back on, lid back on, just to keep moisture out of that. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to turn this off or back on again, and what that's going to do is zero out what's in there. So now I'm back to 0, and now I need 30.4 grams of SRC Fabricast. I need 15.2 of A, 15.2 of B. So forgive me if this does not be, doesn't have to be perfect. You just got to be close. Okay, so here's part A. I've got the top off. I'm going to pour that in there, and like I said, I need 15.2 grams. 12, 16.8. That's good enough. Okay, so I got that there. Now here comes the fast part. I'm going to turn this back off, turn it back on again. It's going to zero that out, and now I'm going to put in another 16.8 or whatever I did, which it's going to be close. Do 16. That's perfect. 16.6. Close enough. All right. Now here's the critical part. I need to mix this as fast as I can. Okay, don't worry about air bubbles, don't worry about any of that stuff. Okay, I need to mix this up as quick as possible. Okay, set that there, and then we go ahead and fill up the mold. It's important to go slow, okay? But this stuff sets up so fast that you got to pour a little bit quickly just to make sure that everything goes in there. I can already feel it warming up, starting to set up on me, starting to get warm. So again, the micro balloons definitely make the chemical reaction go a lot faster. All right. And I probably should be wearing gloves. Please don't yell at me. And I should probably be wearing a respirator, and I'm not. So I just want you guys to understand that safety is important. Okay, and it looks like I'm good there. I'm surprised it didn't take more than that, but it may not take more than that. I may have some left over here. So now what I'm going to do is take my cutters, and it looks like it's actually taking more than that right now. So hopefully it takes everything it needs. I may have just not put enough in there. There was a little bit left over on the end here, so hopefully it filled out correctly. I hope so, since I'm videoing this. But I'm going to tap the sides of the mold just to get any air bubbles that are stiff in there. And again, you got to do this so fast because this stuff sets up so quickly. Okay, normal cure time for SRC for this resin is 15 minutes. I can feel the cup, how warm it is already. It's probably already setting up, but we're gonna go ahead and wait the 15 minutes, let it solidify all the way, and then we'll come back and we'll demold this thing and I'll show you what we got, okay? All right, so off camera, I went ahead and filled up another one just so that I'm just doing 2 at a time. That's what I'm trying to do, is 2 at a time. So this one is set up and ready to go. I'm gonna take off the rubber bands and show you guys what we got here. So take off the cover. Here's the mold. Look at that, guys. Isn't that incredible? Anthony does good work. I'm telling you. Look at that. Incredible. Incredible detail. He does amazing work. So all I got to do now is clean up all the little air bubble pieces that show up there and all that stuff, and we're going to get into that right now. I'm going to show you how that's done. Okay, so we take this out. I'm going to try not to get any of these pieces here in the. That's pops right out, just as simple as that. Okay, clean it out, and I just get in a good habit of going ahead. Oops, threw that cap across the shop. I just get used to going ahead and spraying this mold release after I get done every time. So I'm just going to off the side here. I'm just going to spray it a little bit with some mold release, and then I do the same thing with the other side. Okay, and then I just put it back together. Kind of keep all the stuff out of it. I don't want to leave them open, you know what I mean? So I just put them back together like this and keep everything set up. All right, that way it's ready for next time when I'm ready to come down here and do some more. So that's what we got there. So this is what I do, and I want to show you what I do here. I take a razor blade, okay, and I'm just checking the bait over for air bubbles, that kind of stuff, and that's why you got to be fast. Typically you would tend to get air bubbles here on the thing or around the eyes, but this one actually came out absolutely perfect. Okay, it might be one right there in the middle of that scale, but that's okay, it's going to get covered up with paint. So all these little tiny white tabs, they just knock right off with a razor blade. And if you use the razor blade standing on edge like this, you could actually just go ahead and run it a little hard and knock off that little sharp edge that's there. Okay, and then that way it just knocks down some of that unwanted crap, and that way you don't really have to sand as much, which is I like to do. Now there's always going to be cleanup around the hook, the actual line tie, and where the hook hangers are. I'm going to move you down much better. Okay, so here's the bait close up. I want to show you guys kind of what we're working with here after I knock a bunch of stuff over. So you see the line tie here? See how it's got some resin built up around it? All I do is just run my knife around it, clean out that eye real good. Okay, run it there. Just clean it out real good. Okay, and then once you scrape off what you need to scrape off, I usually give it a little blow there just so that it'll clean that off real good. But see that? Perfect. Okay, nice smooth bait. And again, you can knock some of this down with the edge of the razor blade, which is what I like to do instead of sanding, because I really don't want that stuff to go airborne. Now, same idea here in the front. You want to just go ahead and run your sharp blade like that until you get to the bottom of the hook tie. Now this one, what it did was the sinker slipped down, see it? And it just slipped down to the bottom. No big deal. Okay, paint's gonna go around that. I'm not really too worried about it. I'm sure Chris is gonna take care of that. I'm not really a huge painter. He is a phenomenal painter, one of my good friends, so that's why we're kind of doing this together. I figured I'd make them for him, make him the blanks, and then he could paint them for me. So again, I'm going to run this knife edge down the belly, get rid of any unwanted messiness here. Okay, so we got that one cleaned, we got that one cleaned, we got one more back here. We got a little butt thing there we had to take care of. Just make sure that that's nice and smooth. Now the last part is, and you may have to clean out in this one too, but sometimes you don't have to, and I think I've got a little bit here. I just got to clean around the outside of trying to make these as ready to go as possible for Mr. Chris over there at Swamp Trout. Okay, so got it cleaned up. Now the only thing we got left to do is we got this mess right here, the actual sprue. Okay, this is what I like to do. I take my cutters and I try to cut high, because it's going to want to break. Okay, but we don't want it to break too close to the bait. I want it to break away from the bait. See how I did that there? Then what I do is take this out to my sander in the shop, where it's a mess anyway, and I grind that off. So I'm going to take you out there right now to the shop, And actually, I'm going to demold this other one first and bring them both out there, and I'm going to show you how that process is done for me. So I just use a little belt sander that I've got in my garage, and that takes that right off, and it doesn't smooth it out, but it brings it right down to where it needs to be. Okay. All right, here we are at the sander. I'm going to turn it on. And again, all we're doing is we're taking off that bump right there. That's it. So if you can see it, it'll over focus. We'll take a look at it later. But let me get this other one real quick. That's it. Okay, so it's very noisy out at the sander, and it's kind of one of the first times that I've had to kind of deal with that a little bit. I've done a little bit of that video on the sander, but it's been a little bit difficult. So I sanded that down the best I could. That's rough sandpaper, so it's real rough. I don't know if Chris wants to rub it out smoother. That's up to him, but I think paint will cover that pretty sufficiently. But if you look at it, that's all I did was just take it off perfectly so that it's with the contour of the bait. Okay, so it's a little bit rough, but again, it's going to get painted smooth anyway, so I'm not sure that it really even matters. But there is the finished blank, the way it's supposed to be. And I also have number 2 right here. Okay, did that one as well. Okay, sanded that bottom as well, and she's ready to go. So now what I do for the bagging process for Chris is I go ahead and get some of these parts together, and I put them in these bags, and that way Chris can reuse these bags as well, right? So I put the bait in here, and then I go ahead and get out some of these. Go ahead and get out some of these split rings. Get out what he needs per bait. Okay. And then I go ahead and put 2 of these giant hooks. I'm not sure what size these are. Like I said, I'll put them in the description below. But you just put those in with the kits. So all I do is take these 2 here, drop them in. I can pick this up and then drop the hooks in. So that way Chris has got all of his hardware that he needs. Both split rings are in there, hooks are in there, and the bait. That way when he gets done painting, he can just put it right back in this bag and ship it out to whoever's going to buy it. So we're going to do the same thing here. And that's it, fellas. So maybe what I'll do at some point, I'm not sure if I will or not, but I really need to get into airbrushing again. I did it for a little bit, but not long, so I really didn't get to practice it, and I really didn't get to do what I wanted to do. So these are kind of a great bait to try that on. So I may try some myself, but as of right now, I am going to be making these exclusively for Swamp Trout, and he is going to be selling them on his website. So big lippers and the little lippers, these ones I believe are, let me see how long these ones are. These are a 4-inch bait. I think the other one is a 3, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure, but again, we're going to be doing that as a video, making these as well. So same process. The mold's a little bit different, and obviously a couple different things with the hardware. But I will put everything in the links below the description here. Then that way you got everything you do, or everything you need, just so you can see the whole process. But he does a great job. Anthony did a great job putting all this stuff together. He even gives you a list out here on the end of what it would be total for what you would make the bait as. Okay, so that would be my cost of what it is to make that bait, and then whatever I decide to sell them at, or Chris decides to sell them at, is what's going to be our profit. Now, you also got to take into consideration that you got my time for making the bait, and you also got Chris's time for painting the bait, and he does an amazing job. We both take a lot of time, and we both work full-time jobs and try to do this on the side. For me, it's a little harder. I think Chris has got a little bit better of a setup. I travel a lot for work. That's why you haven't been seeing a lot of YouTube videos lately. I've been just swamped at work, and it's just been tough just keeping my head above the water. So I do my best trying to get you guys some content going, but I also wanted to show you this because it's just something a little bit different. And I think we're going to do some more of the 3D printing type stuff, and I'm going to try my best to try to get a resin printer. That's kind of my next step, but I want to start doing some more stuff on the 3D printer, whether it be some more lead molds, or we can do some soft plastic molds at some point too. I'd really like to do that, but I think I can only really do that with the resin printer because the plastic on a 3D printer, it's not as heat tolerant as some of the resins you can get that are heat tolerant. So I think we're gonna do that at some point. But great little bait, LazyBaitsCo. Go check him out. He does sell these on his page, and I also know there's a couple other guys. Trev from Peak Baits, I know he sells them as well, and I know there's a couple other guys out there that have bought these molds that are going to be making these as well. So keep an eye out, show them some love, follow them, go buy some baits, guys. We really appreciate it. We're small-time bait makers, but you know, we do our best to, you know, help you guys, help other bait makers, help fishermen, you know, try to find that catch that you guys have all been looking for. So I think that's going to wrap it up. So let's get this thing ended. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for today's video. I hope you really enjoyed that. Making some LazyBaitsCo big lippers, and we are using his mold to make resin baits, and I'm going to, like I said, send them off to my buddy Chris at Swamp Trout. He's going to paint them, and they are going to be listed on his website for sale. So keep an eye out for that. I will link everything down below. I'll link LazyBaitsCo. I will link Swamp Trout, so you guys can get those baits at some point when he gets them painted. And I will also link all the stuff that you need to make these, even though there's only 5 kits out there that you can make these, and I'm pretty sure they're all sold out. But just in case you guys are looking for any of that type of hardware, I'll list them below. As always, I am still a avid fan and a affiliate of Barlow's. So if you need anything tackle, go pick it up at Barlow's. Paints, hardware, whatever. They have pretty much everything. Use my code B8N Tackle, all one word. I will put that right here in front of the video, so then that way you guys know what to use. Again, it doesn't save you any money, but it really helps support the channel. I can get new stuff in here to show you guys, which I've been trying to do a pretty good job at. I post a lot of stuff on, I try to post a lot of stuff on Instagram, so I've been doing that too. I also have some affiliates with Hog Salad Molds. I will put that coupon code here too. That'll actually save you 10% on molds. Go check them out. Great mold company. I also work with a lot of other companies too. I work with Epic Bait Molds. They're great mold makers. All these smaller bait companies, although some of the mold companies are getting pretty big now, but they're all fantastic to work with. I've worked with a lot of different companies, and they've all been fantastic. So please check them out, check everything out, follow, like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. But you guys know the drill. As always, remember to keep on baiting.